Hey there, if you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to leave a review and to follow or subscribe. Don't forget to share with anybody that you think might be interested. Your support is greatly appreciated. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful, and it's the best way for us to reach more people and grow this wonderful community. Thanks again for listening. Hey there. Today's episode holds a really special place in my heart. David Josefsberg and I first met on the podcast during the pandemic when he so generously joined the show in season 1. Since that time, the conversation has continued, and David has been a client of mine. And we've had such a great time co-creating a coaching relationship and working through things together. And he's been generous enough to come on and have a coaching conversation with me and share what's changed and what insights have come into his world since we last heard from him 4 years ago. He's a big favorite. He remains one of my most popular episodes. He's a very close colleague and friend and client of mine, and I am so grateful to have him here to share this conversation with you today. So enjoy. This is the Stop Time Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hopkins, and I'm here to engage you in thought-provoking, motivational conversations around practicing the art of living in the moment. I'm a certified life coach, and I'm excited to dig deep and offer insights into embracing who we are and where we are at. So today, I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome back a very special guest, David Josefsberg. So David first joined us back in July 2020.
Wow.
During the heart of the pandemic. And he was one of the first guests to grace our show. I think you were number 4 or something like that, but you were there in the first month. And it's wonderful to have him return to share his journey since then. David is currently starring in Back to the Future on Broadway, portraying Strickland and frequently stepping in as the understudy for Roger Bart in the iconic role of Doc Brown. His impressive Broadway career spans numerous critically acclaimed shows, including Spamalot, Beetlejuice, The Prom, Waitress and Act of God, Honeymoon in Vegas, Motown, Wedding Singer, Les Mis, and Grease. Need I say more? When we last spoke on the podcast in July 2020, David was starring in Broadway's Beetlejuice, which, like the rest of Broadway in the world, had been shut down by the pandemic 4 months earlier on March 12th. So today we're going to catch up on David's recent adventures, his current happenings and roles on Broadway, what's been going on since we last talked, and we're just going to dive in. David, it's so great to have you back. I'm excited.
Great Scott! Oh no, it's super. I'm super happy to be back. I'm excited. I love talking with you.
Ditto.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting to think about a 4-year span. Like I was listening this morning. I went back and listened. I don't usually go back and listen. I'm so like that. I don't know if you're like that with your performances, but like I just don't go back. I'm like so in them, and then they're nicely received, and that's all I need to know. And then, but this morning I thought, God, when was it that we spoke, right?
Yeah.
So I literally went back and I was like, I listened to it this morning over coffee, and first, it was a joy. We didn't know each other like at all.
No.
So
what did I even say? I don't even know what did I say? I want you to listen too.
It's fun. It's really fun because first of all, what stood out to me was, I mean, now, we often talk about this, right? Like I have now hindsight, like I have 4 years of working and being with you and knowing you. So this is such a cool space.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me when I listened this morning, because I was really curious, right?
Yeah.
Was like how we just vibed immediately.
Yeah.
And we didn't know each other at all. So I think we both came into it totally on the level of no expectations.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And I did, so I do know some of your, at that point, I still knew some of your students who at least I got a vibe from what's going to come. And then I just think it's, as I think it was just energy and click and just yeah, it's just been it's started off these next 4 years with a nice bang.
Yeah, no, truly. So talk to me. Where should we begin? What are some of the greatest learnings and shifts and whatever that you'd like to share since we spoke? 4 years? It's 4 years, David,
That's
since
a
that podcast.
that
Yeah.
is shocking to me. It literally feels like it could be a year or like a year. I know it's not, but it feels like it's been so like I don't know. I don't know if it's at this age, it's just hurtling towards something, but that's great. That's amazing too. And it is interesting. I haven't even really given it much thought, which is probably the thing that I've learned the most from you is to give some things some thoughts and just don't be fly by my seat of my pants, Dave. But I think back then, so I was in Beetlejuice, right? Which I still we could talk about how about as an actor or as my career. We'll
Whatever
talk
you
about my
want.
career.
Yeah, go whichever
Sure.
way you want to go. Yeah.
Why not? Because that's where the biggest change in my life has, well, one of the biggest changes has happened since working with you, since talking to you 4 years ago, was I think that I had created this persona or this work guy who there was so much fear and so much, not unhappiness, but limiting beliefs telling me that I had to do something because I needed my memory to be better, or I needed something else to be better, or there's nothing else I can do in the world, or there's nothing this and that. So I think through Beetlejuice, through what was next after Beetlejuice was
Spam-A-Lot.
Spamalot, through this is I have fallen back in love with this side of my career, which has helped me fall back in love with my life because it's such a big part. And it's not that I have to do it, not that I need to do it, but I refound the joy and the passion because I'm not just here. These are probably words that you've said, words that I'm not just here saying words that are on the page to the audience to get it correct. I'm connecting with people. I'm not just focusing on what are the next words. I'm in the moment of the show. Especially it's grown. Like Beetlejuice was one. I guess the shows have been things where I didn't have the opportunity to necessarily cram the words as before I get on stage. Mm-hmm. So I have to be there and be in the moment, and it's been thrilling, which is not a word that I have been saying about the career in a while.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest challenges? Like I remember working with you and talking about, like, if I'm looking back to the trajectory, and actually from listening to the first podcast, which listeners, you should go back and listen because it's interesting. And it's not that there's been some epic change. In fact, what you're going to see is a through line of David's values. And now you're going to see them kind of living out in real time, like when he really started to focus on, like, to really let them out, right? And to recognize them. And it's really, really cool. And like you just shared, that sort of like the reframe of what, you got to sort of know what it was like to not have it so that you could realize and reinvent your relationship with what it is. And what it can be, which is cool. I remember you saying, well, first of all, you thought, it's not going to be that long anyway. So this is fantastic. This is like a break. Everything's lined up. I'm in a really great show that's not going to close right away for sure. And it didn't close, right? I mean, you did go back.
Yeah, we did go back.
Yeah. What was that time frame when you went back?
Because you were about 2 years, I feel like it was, right? About 2 years.
How long did you know that you were going back? So what was that waiting period for you? I mean, you never really know, but you kind of knew, right?
It was quite a bit of time. It was at least, it was over a year and a half. I feel like I'm not fully remembering for exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was most of that. There was a hope, but in this business, as you know, hope is,
Yeah. And I remember, because we were working together during that time, I remember you starting to, again, really find new aspects of yourself that you had time to embrace, and that it didn't feel so much like you were like, oh, I have to pivot, but more like, well, literally, like I say, I get to do this. Oh, I get to do more of this and more of that.
My favorite.
Right?
I get to instead of I have to, or else why are you doing it?
And you were living it. You were living it, right? And then I remember that your struggle was not oh my God, what am I going to do without it? You're like, oh, when we are doing it again, and then it like slipped down into those shoulds, right? Like, well, I should be happy about it, and you were, but
Yeah.
right. But talk to me about that space. And I remember like having to think about rethinking, those limiting beliefs that it has to be the same way. Like I remember that coming up. You were like, oh, now I have to, you start thinking about all the data you have about what it was like, right?
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah.
to me about that.
And I think that, so I've taken a lot of that with me too. I took that, I still do breath work, I still do
Yeah.
these other things. But I think also before, I don't know if this is exactly on that subject, but how this affects my entire life too, because before I was back in the comfort zone in this, and right, instead of I should do this because it makes me the money, I should do this. I have refound this that I get to. And I think that affects everything. It affects drinking because the drinking would calm me to, if I'm going to get through this, I'm going to have my drinks. Now I get to have a drink if I choose to, but it's not like self-medicating over, and we slide sometimes, but it's not self-medicating of because I have to do this job where I don't trust myself. That was a big word when you gave me trust and physicalizing trust and becoming trust. What was your question again?
This is what I love about David is he just goes.
I have no idea what my question answered, what I was supposed to be saying.
It's okay. Just talk about what you want to talk about. Because again, the question is generating some beautiful energy. So just,
Yeah.
I was talking about the shift, right? The shift of the reinventing your relationship. I think we're kind of honing in on the how, because
Mm-hmm.
I think your relationship with, with this sort of, oh yeah, no, I get to do this. And actually, I really want to do this. That was discovered. That's really cool. But then it came to the how. And sometimes when we get to the practical things, we start relying on how we did it before. And
Ah,
right?
yes.
Do you see what I'm
Oh God,
saying?
yes,
And
yes,
you
yes, yes.
struggled there, right? But you were a different person. So talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, right. It's been this, and we discovered that probably even in the first one. I don't remember that these thoughts come from college, and I'm a singer, and I'm not really in the acting
Mm.
worlds as much as them. So I have to memorize and grab hold and squeeze everything so tightly and work really hard, and this is a job, and I think coming to this place of no, 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 no. And it's back before that when I was younger and it would have just allow it all to come out. And then it was then this transformation into the I can't exactly verbalize it. It is trust and it is giving yourself fully and being vulnerable to make the mistakes and not feeling like you just because something worked. Okay, back to branches. Just because something works successfully on this branch doesn't mean we don't need to explore these other branches to see if those branches are even better. And you know what? It turns out they are even better.
Yeah.
And even now, that doesn't mean that even right here I can't go spring off of all these different branches and find
Absolutely.
other ways to do it. But I think it was finding part of it is finding awareness and giving myself a seat back to give myself an overview of what I truly am feeling, what I truly like, what is really true for me right in this moment as an actor on the stages and in my life, and trying new things, not being afraid to jump off the diving board.
Yeah. And I mean, I would challenge you a little bit on that because I don't think you are afraid to try new things.
Right.
I don't think you've ever been afraid. I think that you do it and you carry the fear with you. Maybe I get that,
Uh,
but I would venture to say that you do scary things. You can receive that or not receive that.
sure. It's, I like that. I like that. It sounds good to me.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but it's interesting because well, what's coming to me is I remember, and again, I'm going back to the how because I think it's important. We talk a
Yeah.
lot about in mindfulness and stuff about your why,
Uh-huh.
and knowing your why and knowing that you're coming from a true place. And I think that's obviously extremely important.
Yeah.
And then we talk about, if you want, with using your verbiage, like branches of your why, right? So,
Yeah.
you're a giver for sure. That's one branch of you, though, right? It doesn't need to be your absolute, the way you always go to please. I think we discovered a lot of that that's a
Ugh.
gift that you have, and it's something that you love to do.
Yeah.
But it just because you love it and just because it's your gift doesn't mean you have to do it. There's that.
Yeah.
But
Wait, I need to write that down. I forgot. I'm remembering. That's a good thing. I don't have to. I'm going to send this directly over to my wife. Just kidding.
no, I mean literally, right? And just
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you can doesn't mean you have to. Now, the how, we often skip over the how, and we think that the how is a to-do list. I'm not really talking about the how as a to-do list. I'm talking about the how as a way of being, but in the physical world, in the real world, right?
Uh-huh.
Not in your spiritual world or in
Yeah,
your,
yeah.
altruistic world. And when I remember you going back to Beetlejuice, when it was like, it's actually really coming back.
Oh, what I wanted, right?
Yeah, all those limiting beliefs about this is how you did it before, therefore this is how we should do it, came up for you.
Yeah.
And I think what didn't, which is normal, because that's the only data you have. You've never done it another way, and it worked. I
Yeah.
mean, you were starring in the show, and now you're starring in the show again, still.
Yes.
And so what we do is we try to go back and remember, oh, what was it that we did? It was so good, and what was it they liked about me, and how did I warm up, and how did I, right? All these
Yeah.
things. And we start looking in these places of the way that we used to do other things. And while we can cull some really good information from that, it's being like bringing that into your realm so that you can have choice about that. Oh yeah, I did that, but you know what? I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do. And I remember giving you an exercise saying, as you're commuting to work again, taking the same path 6 days, 7 days a week, find something that you've never seen before. Look for
Yeah.
things that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. I do. So many thoughts as you were talking were going through my head. But the first one was I think that when we were talking before about how things are different, I think that for me, the branches, is that a lot of what we worked on also is that, like, it's good enough. I am happy. I'm happy. I am happy when it's good enough. I am happy this. I am happy. But I think one of our first talks was about like lighting a fire under a balloon, right? To like the fire, getting
Yeah.
a balloon flying in the air. And I think that this work has done that for me. I think, if you didn't tell you have done so much of the how. I'm just coming up with that now, is that yes, there's why, of course there's why. And that's that. But putting it into practice, putting it into action, right? Doing the hows of, that was a big one. I remember thinking, instead of like, I have to get on this train and study these words because that's what I do on the train. I study no, maybe we can look at something and find something new.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of doing the specific, like running the scene back before I walk and open the door, that was the one from Beetlejuice, and say, hi, Barbara, I'm home. Maybe instead of running the lines right now, it's just to frantically fear it and get everything like this. Maybe I embody trust. And what does trust feel like to you physically? You gave me that one for the Spamalot, where if I didn't have that advice, I probably would. I was looking for ways to like fall gently into the street to be hit by a car so that my leg would break so I wouldn't have to go to work. So I remember sitting outside, almost crying, about to eat my lunch, and you gave me the trust, and I was like, yes, physically do some things. That's different. Like get in the moment, in the now.
Yeah.
And it also, I feel like it's been like a progression of these things, because that first one allowed me to reconnect with the love of the people on stage, of the audience, with myself. The second one helped me, bring into, it's not mental, get out of this head and get physical. And then this one, I was still, there's a lot to learn as doc, but it was so much quicker, still do the work, but then again, let it go and put it away.
Yeah.
And so I think so much of those little techniques and so many of those not little, huge, like little tiny changes that are huge, have been what this has been all about.
That's amazing. And I remember, it's important for the listeners to understand that David's not just talking about, going on and doing a role, especially like, I think it's worthy of mentioning that when you did Spam-A-Lot, you were covering how many leads?
4 of the leads. Yes.
I mean, first of all, fucking kudos to you. Not because you can do that task, right?
Yeah.
But because somebody gave you that task because they believe
Yeah.
and know that you're that talented, that you're not just typecast into one, you could actually do all of them.
Yeah. That was cool. And so that then brings everything into my life so much better. Then it allows me to be the giver, to do the things for the family, to because if not, and I'm tunnel visioned on all this stuff, then the life is not living what I want it to be.
Yeah.
So there's something about, you know, as a Jewish man, we're always like, yeah, no, it's good, it's enough, we're happy. There's some, and there are some who are the complete opposite. But I feel like this has given me yeah, you know what? Everyone is telling me that this is really great, so I'm allowed to accept that it has been great, and it's given me confidence and has allowed me to, I don't know where it's going now, but to go further in all directions of life and career. Like it's given me, we've talked about accomplishing things is something that lights me up and really gets me going. So I feel like, it's just been a huge, amazing change for me.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because again, as a self-declared pleaser, um, it I still hear an inkling of that, and I just want to clarify because I know that I know that it's you take things through the lens still because you care so much about what other people think. So you also care about their opinion, not so much from ego. Like I don't hear that. I don't hear like, oh, I want to know that people think I'm good. But that permission of like, well, if the people that I care about actually think it's okay, well then yeah, I can be confident about that. So it's almost like a validation. And it's interesting because I would argue and say that it's all you and that confidence is a result. And you don't become confident because people say you got this. You become confident because you fucking do the
Oh
stuff
yeah,
and you build the
100%,
skills.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know
100%.
what I mean? And I think you said that to me recently. You said actually, like you said it wholeheartedly. I'm really proud of what I did. I'm like, yes.
And I've learned I mean, not only is it good, but even the self-deprecating of, yeah, I'm terrible, I'm just not, your brain, it hears that. Who's
Correct.
it? I hear that. And so I have made a conscious effort because it is the truth. We just don't want to feel like we're being too cocky, or
Yeah.
I don't want to feel like I'm being too cocky or this, but we're sure as shit, sure as hell happy to tell ourselves when we're failures or when we're not doing something right.
I know it's so true, right? It's so
My
true.
God.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, we're taught to be humble and all of that,
Yes.
but it's not bragging if you've done it.
Yeah.
And we're talking about conversations with ourselves, not with
Yeah. Yeah.
other
Yeah.
people. You're not going
Totally.
there going, look at me. You're going, you know, hey, I
Yeah.
did, patting your own self on your back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It feels nice once in a while to give yourself that.
totally. What's the hardest thing you've ever done?
Oh, I guess parenting.
There you go. You're just gonna like blanket statement parenting. Hell yeah. It's ever changing, right? Like as your kids get older, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot about, this just in everything, not just parenting, but it really shows up clear. It's really good to look at, through the lens of parenting, or clear. It's clear to look at the attachment piece, right? When when you're sort of attached to, so you're helping, but it's, because you kind of want something. Even though it's all in
Yeah.
good, you
Yeah. Yeah.
want it to be good for them. Yeah.
And for me, I want to be liked. I want to be, you know what I mean? All of it.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Super
That's hard.
interesting.
All right. I'll put that on the list of things to work this week.
What's the easiest thing you've ever done that you've ever had to do? Yeah.
Easiest thing.
Yeah. Or easiest decision you ever made, if you want. It could be that.
I mean, the first thing that comes up for me is like finding joy in most everything. Is pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
Uh,
How do you do that?
it's a good question because I generally am happy. Of course, it's easy for me flip-flopping on everything that I say. Uh, finding both sides. How do I do that? How do I find the joy? I mean, I really do think that it is we are incredibly lucky to be here. And so I do feel like whatever we go through we're still here doing that thing.
Mm.
I mean, that's a little, what's it called? Like I have my crystal here and I'm, everything's great and easy. Let me think for 1 sec. Give me like 10 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
The easiest thing. Well, I guess also I could say doing for the family is so supremely easy for me. Um, God, it's so funny. Like I would say that this journey of finding the joy back in theater, like now I would say it's easy, but it was certainly like very not easy in a
Yeah.
4-year process.
Yeah, fair.
But I guess enjoying the moments of that process, even though there were some times, as I said before, that I wanted to get hit by a car, I still think like looking back, it was a joy, like finding the joy of that, or finding the joy of being home and not working for those 2 years, or not finding the joy of not working for half of my career.
Yeah. You know what's incredible about what you just said?
What?
And this is for everybody. Go back if you didn't catch it. But you said, you said, and these words are really important, I think. You said, let me have 10 minutes or 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
Uh-huh.
You asked for what you wanted. So you honored your value of being true
Uh-huh.
and clear. And it superseded your very strong default, which is to please, which is I got to give her an answer.
Now, just so that everyone who's listening, if you then saw the video, I did make like a face of like a scrunched up, like, ooh, was that an answer that was good? So that's still on the other side.
For sure. But do you recognize that? Like, I want to celebrate
Totally.
you for that. Like,
No, that is
literally.
great. It is. I love that.
It was for me like a poof moment. It was, you were like, let me, and you didn't even say it in sort of a hyper way. You're like, oh, let me think about it. You were like, let me take 10 seconds just to think about this. And it was so like centered and grounded. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I'm winning.
There we go. Back to the binary. It's funny. We always talk about the binary, right? The win lose. And he was joking, obviously, but because, well, it's easier because we can make shortcuts, right? In life, right? Like, do I do it? Do I not do it? Like, and that harkens back to what we're talking about. Do I take the gig or do I not take the gig?
Yeah.
Right. But when we only have two choices, it feels trapping because even if they're both exciting choices, because you feel like you're going to FOMO if you take this and not that, or whatever, right? All these things come cascading in. But there are only two things in life that are 100% birth and death.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the only non-choices we have in our life. Everything in between is choice. Everything. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I love it. And I think that's a huge lesson in life. And it must be that's helped me so much. Even like, my things at school, if you don't like school, there's choice to do something else. There's choice for any career. There's choice for love. There's choice for so many different things. I think when you were also speaking, the thing that I think that we've talked about so much, things that excite you. I think I've learned so much that I can choose those things rather than just go. That's a huge thing in my life where, as a pleaser, I'm like, yeah, no, it is good enough. It's always good enough. Because you know what? I feel like I am happy enough. I should just choose what's best for everyone else.
Did you all hear the should? Mm-hmm.
I must choose. No, I don't know.
No, but it's true. That's
God.
how you feel. You're shitting yourself for sure.
I should all over myself.
Literally.
But I should do because I can handle it.
Yeah.
Because I'm good enough and I'm happy enough with this. But I think that, and I'm really grateful that it's at this time, because like at 50, like in my 50s, I feel like, some people think we're heading towards it, but I feel like I truly am heading towards, because I'm finding more things to be that I am truly excited about, that I
Yeah.
get to go, and as I get to go grab at those and try those and do those and live those.
Yes. Yes. It's also really notable and interesting. You've got two boys that in 4 years have grown into men, young
Oh
men,
my gosh.
right? Like that's a whole lifetime in their life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you're going back to something that you're familiar with, and going back to the job, if you want to call it, that you used to do, but you're so different because your whole world is different too,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
like the contextualization is so important, is
Yeah.
to look at what's changed, what's changing around you, how that affects you, what you would like to do. So you're not at the expense of how it's affected me so much. No, it's like, again, if you're in that higher energy, it's about that. Ooh, so what's different? Cool. What other branches? Right? What
Yeah.
other, where can we go? And like you said, like branches, there's not one is not better than the other. I mean, you can, in your case, you can leap and jump. You can be like one of those monkeys, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you see like a new branch growing,
Yeah.
but it's not big enough for you to jump on it as the little monkey guy,
Oh.
how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel like, oh, I wish it would grow quicker? Or does it make you feel like, oh, I don't know, I'm curious.
Huh. I like that metaphor. I always love your metaphors. Do I get impatient? I would say somewhat. I think when you were saying that, I was thinking that there's a part of the brain that's like, still wait, like, you don't need to do that. But I think that over these past few years, I've become someone who's pushes through that and maybe jumps onto it, even if it's not fully ready
Oh,
to jump
interesting.
onto.
Oh, that's interesting.
Um, Maybe not though. I think that no, I think what I see it as also is like you have to sort of not jump, maybe hold on to this branch a little. What? Oh, that doesn't seem like it's good, does it? But hold on a little and get this one, do that until you can take that swing.
Well, do you know what's really interesting is the
What?
implication here for you seems to be that because there's a branch, I have to do something with it. That's interesting.
Oh, oh. Well, I want to do something because I mean, why not?
There's infinite branches.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't have to be just that branch.
Well, and it's so I'm just sort of, it's amazing, right? It's amazing that your instinct, there's nothing wrong with it. It's
You
cool.
don't.
There's absolutely nothing wrong. There are no right or wrong answers, but it's cool that you were like, ooh, but I might jump on too soon and this and that and the other. And it's interesting because another person might have said, actually, just knowing that something else is growing is cool. And I may or may not do that. And that might be a different vibe.
I like that vibe. Feels good when you said it. I like that vibe. Like it's growing while I'm doing this too, and it's growing. I like it. Did feel good. So maybe that is what I really want to be doing,
Interesting.
and not worried about having to grasp at the things. It's let them all
Interesting.
grow. Yeah, that's a better visual.
Well, it's interesting because I've been thinking also a lot lately about like what we put on the back burner, what we put on the shelf, and then what we just keep in the rearview mirror. When you put something on the back burner, to me, tell me what you think this implies. But when you put something on the back burner, it's something that it's still on the stove, it's still cooking.
Mm,
So you're still interested in doing that, but maybe either you're cognizant that it takes longer, or that you just want to slowly let it evolve, right? If you forget about it, I suppose it'll burn. I don't know. Depends which way you want to go with the metaphor, but
yeah,
it's still on the stove. And then you have stuff that you've shelved. And for me, and again, this is the way I took it. You can take it whatever way you want. But when I think of something shelved, it feels more intellectual. And maybe that's just because it conjures a bookshelf, right?
right.
So it's like something that for me, the shelf thing feels more like shoulds. For me personally, it feels like, yeah, I'm going to keep that where I can sort of see it because it reminds me that, yeah, I thought about doing that or reading that book or whatever it might be, but I
Right.
never did. So I don't know. Maybe the shelf taunts us. I don't know. And then there's the rear view mirror, the things that we just finally just go, yeah, I remember when I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore. But you're still kind of peeking back in the rear view mirror. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I love all of these. This is not something that I've thought on too much. I think that back burner to me would sound like it's a bad thing, but I think I like the new reframe for me. I think that would can be really helpful. Like it's still bubbling in the back, like
Yeah.
it's on the back burner, but it's still burning. It's
Hmm.
still burning. So I think that like taking things that are interesting, that like it feels like it opens up options for me.
Yeah.
Like it allows me, they're there. I can still do those. The rear view mirror. I mean, interesting. Like that still feels like it's there though. Like I can get to it if I needed to, but I feel like the back burner is like right there. And I could get in there and do those things. The shelf? Oh no. The shelf also feels open to me because I would just peel that book away and just do that too. I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know either. It's interesting, right? That's cool though that the back burner thing seems to.
That can be very helpful.
Like, what's on your back burner these days? Because right now, what's cooking is the show, right?
Show's cooking, but like a lot of things. I guess maybe not back, but side burners. Like
Sure.
the show is leading to good health. The good health and the show are leading me to be available for more everything with the family, with the kids, with the
Yeah.
this, with the mindset, because I'm not shoving in food and alcohol as much. I'm open to that. What else? I guess breathwork's on the back burner,
Hmm.
and that kind of meditation's on the back burner. It was a little further back than the back burner. That's in the rear view. I think I need to make a quick little turnaround and then come back forward because my body, as I said it, I'm like, I want to go back to that. I want the cold showers. I want to, but it just feels like I'm adding instead of like needing to do it. It would be, I'm going to add these things, and they're coming along slowly. Things are happening, but the job has the money so that I can maybe get a cold plunge or maybe these things, but things are all sort of, I don't know. The audience can't see now, but I have my arms spread. There was
Off screen.
there was a visual that you gave me once of like, as we, when you're looking down and you can see things deep to the right, deep to the left, deep in front of you. And I guess you could sort of on the back burner feel them.
Love that.
So that's new though, guys. I never thought of the back burner before. This is a new piece, the back burner for me. We've talked hot air balloons. We've talked a lot of cooking, right?
Totally.
In our lives with this.
It's totally.
I love to cook.
Yeah.
Cooking is on the front burner because I'm doing so much cooking for me, for my family to bring to the show, and for the kid.
I love that.
16 and 19-year-old boys. We need lots of chicken, lots of steak, lots of things.
Holy cow.
But I think that that's great for me. I didn't realize this was going to be such a great session for me specifically. But I'm going to backburn all of these things because I want them added. Stat. Yeah.
So if you had to choose one highlight and one low light from your career, what would those be?
Ooh. Well, gosh, there've been so many highlights I'm about to say. I guess you could say, as an actor on Broadway, for me, this is what I tell everyone. These kids, actually the kids in the show now, are asking me, how does one sustain a career and a family and a this and a that? And I always say, like, first of all, I think it's taking out ego. Because when I was younger and wanted the part and wanted to, I need this, so I need to give them what they need and who I'm supposed to be. When I took that away and started enjoying the process of auditioning where that's the job, or taking jobs that maybe wouldn't have been not a lead, and going from smaller roles to bigger roles to side roles to these egg rolls, no, not egg rolls, to like finding to breath work, to all of these things in a career, taking the ego out of it, of feeling like this is what I should be doing at this stage of my career. This is what I should be doing at the beginning of my career. This is what I should be doing. I deserve it. And doing what you want to do and finding the joy in it. So the maybe there have been missed jobs that I didn't get. That could be a low light, maybe. But I don't feel like it because it brought me to whatever the next thing was. I had a real difficult time in the prom. So that's a low light. Because I was scared, because I was untrusting of myself, because I didn't know if I could do it. and I just had a difficult time. And this is when I did not know how to live a life. It was solely focused on that. I would be walking the dogs and I would be running lines. I would be listening to my kids and thinking, oh, I wonder when I can go run my lines. And I would be doing all these things
Mm,
as opposed to how this freedom has come with these next few years, the 6, 7 years. But highlights right now, being comfortable going in and actually not thinking, oh, I hope I don't get the phone call for Doc. I hope I don't get the phone call. Being like, if I get the phone call for Doc, awesome. If I'm doing my regular job, awesome.
love it.
Altar Boys, when I got to create my own role, Honeymoon
Mm,
in Vegas, Les Miserables, my first. I mean, there's so many highlights of the career, but I'm going to say right now I'm in like a sweet, sweet stage.
yeah. And years ago, like even 4 years ago or even before, would you ever have believed it? Like, go back to when you were in the prom and, you could see when you were suffering.
I
Would
thought,
you have
I,
ever believed you'd be here in this state? And again, to
not,
be clear for the listeners, like I'm not saying to be playing this role or in the show. We're not talking about what he's doing. We're talking about how he's feeling and what he's doing, which is
yeah,
which is the real success here.
yeah. And it's funny because there were moments before the prom, but then at that point I thought maybe I'm done with this career for good.
Mm,
Even when we were talking about Beetlejuice, I'm like, this is the last one, maybe.
I remember, yeah.
And then the next one was the last one. And then this one, you know what? I'm not gonna say it. Which is weird. This is the first time I've actually even thought of that. That I can't say that anymore. Like I really was truthful because it was living out of fear,
Yeah.
not living out of maybe I don't want to do this anymore, which is also fine.
Yeah.
But it was I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to. I don't want to do it. And now I'm like, we'll see what we do anymore. We'll see
Love
what's
it.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited by it,
Yeah.
and I'm interested. It's and there's so many things you could do. I'm doing while I'm doing it that has given me this like it's a weight that has been off my shoulders and my body to find this again because I
Mm,
did love it and I do love it.
yeah.
Mm.
Nice. That's exciting. Well, you're living in your highlight now. I mean, which is exactly, I mean, I don't even need to ask you, what's your definition of living in the moment? Because I think you're doing it, right?
Well, much thanks to you as well. I'm not, I'm serious. You've given me so many as I said, like I read the books, I not enough, and I do the meditations, this and that, but it is about for me translating that into doing something or uh thinking differently about that or options to widen the scope of
Mm,
what I believe.
yeah.
And I feel like you've given me a lot of that. So
Oh,
just a
thank you.
little
Well,
side.
it's co-created, by the way.
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
it
Of
doesn't
course.
happen in a vacuum. And, it's cool too, because I think, you know, it's actionable, but it's not actionable in like a 12-step plan. It's actionable in that when you have an insight, you just don't hold on to it. You then translate that into however you want to use it in your life, which is what you've done. And that's where your practice comes in, right? Like I can't make you do something, nor do I
No.
want to make you do something. Right. So, but it's just about opening the possibilities.
What's humorous to me is that since we've been talking for 4 years, and I don't think that I have ever given you and or come in with anything specific that I want to talk about,
No.
but it always turns into this. It's like there's a little energy that's going like this, and then it goes and it's like then we're at the top of the mountain. I'm like, holy shit! How did we do that?
Yeah. No, for sure. And we is key.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean, literally. And the biggest part about that is is the non-attachment and
Yeah.
trust. Actually, it's right. I mean, literally, it's me not being attached to or you to what it's supposed to be, and just like this conversation now, like neither of
Yeah.
us, literally, it was like, hey, it'd be really fun to have you on the show. And you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
so we jump on. What big audacious goal or dream do you have that you haven't put out in the universe yet?
That I haven't put out at all. Hmm. Hmm. Dream that I haven't put into the universe.
Or audacious goal. It might be something that has crossed your mind that,
Yeah, I mean, it's not. There's so many things I want to
hmm,
like. I want to challenge myself physically. These kind of things, like I don't know what specifically it is. Like I've done a marathon, but I want to do. I want to change my life in that capacity, but I want to live on water
hmm,
soon.
hmm,
Like I want to have a. Oh well, I mean, it's these have been percolating that I want to have a place where. So every summer we've been going up to Vermont to these friends' houses who've had this house in their family for 100 years,
hmm,
and I want to start that where friends, our kids bring their friends, our family
hmm.
bring their families. I want to be the link, like the beginning of
Yeah,
that.
I love that.
That's a big one. That's a big goal, I think.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it's not audacious. I think it's gorgeous. But it's certainly, yeah, I love that.
What's the definition of audacious exactly?
Audacious, I think, is kind of almost like ballsy or like
Ballsy. That's not
seems
ballsy.
impossible or seems, yeah.
Oh, I
It's okay though. I mean, what you shared
impossible.
is brilliant.
Impossible. What's impossible?
Yeah, I see.
I mean, I don't know. Like, yeah, do I want to? No, an impossible goal. Well, lately I've been really wanting to get into the best shape of my life that I've ever gotten into. And that seems, everyone's telling me that that's not possible at this age.
Do you believe that?
No,
No, I don't believe that either.
no.
It's harder, but it's more hard. I think not so much. Well, I'm sure there are some scientific reasons why it's harder, but I think in the mindset it can be harder. For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
too.
Right. Mindset. Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's so many examples. There's so many examples of
Yeah.
people who turn things around and so on and so forth.
Yeah. What else? I mean, you know what? It's funny. Like as soon as we turn off this camera, like now things are like, oh, I want my breath work to turn into like something that I can definitely do from a beach and live, so that I can have that house there, so that I don't have to
Ah,
necessarily
there you go.
do the Broadway. And then I want to. So
Yeah,
there
there
are
you go.
things percolating.
It's a beautiful place to go and
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
in your head. And I'm sure you've read or we've talked about, your brain. That's why visualization is so powerful, right? Because your brain doesn't know the difference between it actually being real and not, which is why we get sometimes freaked out in our dreams and stuff
Oh my God.
because your body responds. So you can create that happy place for you. It is a kind of manifestation, I suppose. But I step away from saying, that sort of, because I think people look for shortcuts and go, well, if I think about it really, really hard, is it going to happen? Is that manifesting? No, people, that is not
No.
manifestation. But what you can do is take yourself to that place so that you can familiarize yourself with the feelings and it starts to feel possible. And when
Hmm.
you're living in the land of possibility, then you start to come to the real world and put it together and you're in
Awesome.
choice and you figure out how to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. You always have good keywords for me too, like possibility.
Mm.
Possibility. What a great word, because you can that leads to everything.
It does. And I always remind myself and others that let's live in a land in the world of possibility, not probability.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because probability, man, it's like it just, either it's going to make you go, oh yeah, watch me, which is great, but it's unsustainable and it's for the wrong reasons, right? Just watch
Totally.
me, I'm going to prove you wrong. But I mean,
Yeah.
if that's your jam, then go for it. But when you live in possibility, then you just believe that anything's possible. And
Yeah.
then it's back on you. And
Right.
then it's like anything's possible, but it's not easy. That doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
easy.
It's not jamming it in like, oh yeah, I am gonna get in the best shape of my life. It's
Exactly.
hey, it's possible.
It is possible. I mean, it's
Totally.
like if I was your genie, I'd be like, yeah, it's totally possible. What are you going to do
Totally.
about it? Because
Yeah.
it's on you. It's only possible if you participate.
Right. And that's the manifestation, right? Is
Yeah.
acting when you manifest and you you become the person that you want to be,
Yeah.
who has these, who is these things,
Yeah. You
who are
align, you
these.
align with what, yeah, exactly. Exactly. With the vision of who you want to be. And I think that's key.
Yeah.
Not what
Yeah.
you want to do, but who you want to be in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you know will stay true about you no matter what happens?
Ooh, this is interesting.
Hmm.
I believe that I will find the positive in whatever comes my way.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a conversation with people, how everything comes easy, or for David, or everything is you haven't had a loss of a parent, and you haven't had this, and you haven't had that, so it's just all so easy.
Mm.
But I'm not necessarily sure that that's the case. I just think that we find I'm able to find the positive parts of things, and if things go bad, I feel like I'm not afraid to say, like, specifically thinking of a relationship with someone. If I've done something wrong, I was wrong. So that sometimes those things
Right.
lead to positive
Mm.
events, I guess. But I
Yeah.
think I would remain positive in the face of, and it's a possibility that when really bad things happen, I believe that that still will happen.
That's cool. And I would even call it not positivity so much as response ability, the ability to respond, right?
Yeah.
Because that's really what it is, right? It's not like you're gonna, well, maybe it isn't. I don't want to project, but it's not that you're kind of looking at things and going, okay, how can I find the positive? Like, it's not like toxic positivity. It's rather, what are my choices to respond to this?
Yeah.
And, and sometimes it might be to mourn or to feel sad about something so it doesn't mean, nope, I found my way to be happy about this. No, it's
Yeah.
finding a way that aligns with you so that you can continue to, yeah, right? Do you know?
Totally. That feels. Oh, also that my need to feel like it, for it to feel right, is also going to remain all the time. Like, when I talk to you and I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel exactly what I'm saying, but like my body has this huge urge
Mm,
to not be right, but to the truth, the connection to the truth of what it truly is.
yeah, I love that. Hey, so how do you want to be remembered?
Jeez Louise. um, I mean, the word that keeps coming up is kindness, but yeah, I guess the things that we've been talking about, right? That I lived joyfully, that I was always there for my family, or for whoever, friends, everyone, people that I love. Uh, not that it's not sad whenever I go. Like, I've already gotten this opportunity to live this amazing life.
Can you finish this phrase?
Oh,
Most people think David Josefsberg is, but the truth is.
most people think that David Josefsberg is. Huh. So, but then it's, but really.
Yeah, the truth is, but the truth is. Trying to get the script right, are you, Dave?
Just want to make sure I get those words correct for you. I want to answer this question with as much verve and possibility as possible. Well, I think it's changed so much that, like, I think I remember probably said that, is this funny guy, but he's really this deeper, blah, 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 blah. But I think everyone really knows that I'm like a little bit, it's my role in life has changed to become this person who is, connected and open and deeper, and not just the funny guy.
Mm,
So I don't think that's true anymore, and I haven't given it thought since then. So,
that's neat. So how do you want to be? How do you want to be seen? Let's make a new question. How do you want to be seen in the world today?
well, I guess it's still, thinking even what's going on now in my life, even at the theater. Like, I want to make everyone happy. I want everyone to feel the joy, not, and it's not something I consciously do, I don't think, but like, I mean, sometimes, of course, I do things for people, but
Yeah.
feel the joy emanating from me so that they can get in the joy circle.
Mm, yeah.
Again, I'm going to make that face. All my answers, they seem boring.
Stop judging yourself.
I'm judging myself. Everyone thinks that David Josefsberg
You
is.
can think about that. Maybe you don't know what people think. I don't know what people think about me.
Hmm.
Like, how would
I
I
don't know.
answer that question?
Answer.
Uh,
You know what? Answer that question.
I don't know because I think people think that the way they meet me is all of me because I give
Ooh.
my all wherever I am.
Mm-hmm.
So what is true is that I give my all wherever I am. But what is not true is that when you meet me in a certain context, that's not all of who I am.
Yeah, that's so cool. Right, because you're giving your all to that, but there's this.
Yeah. So if someone sees me in the context of blah, 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 mother, performer, coach, whatever it is, they file it away as wow, because they meet me powerfully because I feel like I have a powerful energy in whatever it is I'm doing. So
Yeah.
that's how they file me.
Yeah. That's interesting. I love that.
Yeah. And I don't like that. Like I don't, it's not their fault. And I've learned I've learned I've learned to not care about that because that's just as bad as caring about the way people think about you because they're thinking about me in a very positive way. So I mean,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's not up to me. They can, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's so interesting. So I've learned to let go of yeah, but wait, like I remember back in the days of teaching, right? Where the people that really knew me knew that, that I really specialized in both, like both jazz and tap and theater and stuff like that. But the people that didn't maybe only caught on to one of them or the other for whatever reason because they saw me in that context. So I remember being asked to do one of them and kind of low key mentioning that I did the other and them kind of blowing it off, going, oh, no, we have lots of people that do that and naming the names and going and then hearing the names and realizing that I actually taught them.
Totally.
But it was such a good moment because it could have been a real ego moment. Like, oh, yeah. I was like, wow. And then I was like, actually, it's really cool that they really think of me like fully as this and that, I'm not jack of all trades because
Yeah.
you could fall into that as well. Right.
Yeah.
So.
Year five, I think we're going to need to talk about this because this is bringing up a ton for me because I forgot, like, I want that. I want people to, not that I want them to know, but I want the theater and to be a great dad and to do breath work and to be a deep thinker and to do sports and to be a goofball and to do these things. And I think you're right. Like, yeah, I don't know if it's good or, I mean, I do think it's good to be able to do these things, but not that I would want someone to have that opinion of me.
The opinion being
That I need them to know that I'm also this and this and this and this.
right.
Doing it for a reason other than the love of wanting to do the things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like that I'm clicking in life because, not just because, but with being the career man who's doing this and being this dad and a husband and a friend and a this and a joy monger and all of
Yeah.
these things.
Yep.
So I wonder if it's no. I think it's for me. It feels like it's just a widening because there is that space. Like how we use like not enough of our brains. Like I
Mm-hmm.
do feel like there's capacity to do all of this.
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah,
and it's contextualized again, right? It's like the fader on the soundboard. You're not going to always be up here or down
yeah.
there or and you want to
Back
blend it.
burner.
You do want to blend it, right? Because let's
Yeah,
imagine that all those aspects of you are all there,
yeah,
at some point, and it's yeah,
yeah.
so it's fading in it. Yeah. Anyways, so
Music and food.
we did.
That's our sweet spot.
Yes, and water.
Yeah. What? Oh, let's drink it up. Hey,
And
cheers
fire,
to.
actually. We do fire too, a lot.
Oh
That's
yeah.
so funny. Oh my gosh. What are you most afraid of?
What am I most afraid of? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is just children being sad, children being a wife too, but even more children than
Yeah.
because you feel like my wife can handle I can have, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, my
Yeah.
kids, and in both ways, like them not finding, not being on, like doing on their, or how about that? The world for my children as well, where it's going,
Mm, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
which is
Hey, well,
scary. A
it
big
is.
one.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That's real. What's the worst advice you've ever been given?
The one that is coming to me was that when I was first starting out in theater
Hmm.
and I was doing a little production of Baby
Hmm.
in Metuchen, New Jersey. And then I got the Les Mis tour, and the director telling me that if I leave a week early to go do the Les Mis tour, my career it's going to be ruined and you're never going to be able to make it. You got to honor your commitments. You shouldn't take this job that's going to make you more money and start your career off. You should stay here and finish this.
Wow. And you
I
didn't.
didn't. No, I did not.
So the worst advice really is just to peel that back is to don't trust your intuition because it
Oh
sounds like,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's really what it
yeah,
is. Because he was
yeah.
living in the land of limiting beliefs and also selfishly wanting you to stay, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's so
And
cool.
without that, I wouldn't have had this career, and I wouldn't have found my wife with my children,
Yep.
who are going to be, you know,
Yep. And that's again, you trusted your gut. Right?
yeah.
I'm sure you listened to what he said.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like to disappoint. So even back then, I was
Exactly.
like, oh, maybe he's right.
Maybe he's right. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Hey, and what's the best advice you were ever given?
My parents
Hmm.
allowing and giving me the opportunity to follow the dreams and the things that I love.
Mm.
So like, my parents didn't have enough money to send me to NYU. They'll figure out a way to send me to NYU. My parents, just pushing me towards following the things that I'm good at, and well, not good at, but that I love.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
But then
Wow.
you worry on the other side, like, am I too hands off allowing my children to do these things too? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The parenting there, back to the parenting thing. It's hard. It's so hard.
Yeah.
You know, that's amazing. Hey, so what makes you hungry? This is rapid fire. We've done this before.
Oh,
What makes you hungry?
what makes me hungry? Accomplishing something that's hard, doing hard things
Yeah, fair enough. What makes you sad?
when other people are sad and that they can't get out of it.
Mm. What inspires you?
Mm. Uh, Music, seeing achievement, a good quote, a good book, inspires me. What inspires me? Connection. Was a different inspiring, I guess, right? Connection, love, um, seeing people achieve things, I guess, like
Yeah,
impossible things.
love it. Hey, when you feel inspired, what do you do?
When I feel inspired, what do I do? Well, first I send them videos to my family so that they can be inspired as well.
Of course.
Uh, Sometimes write things down. Sometimes go out and do things. Feel like I take that energy and use it to do the things that I want to do, like go and
Yeah,
work out, do something real hard.
I love it. So it energizes you. Cool. What frustrates you?
What frustrates me? Ooh, it's a good one. Not doing the things that I promised myself. Not being able to remember words. Being stopped, blocked.
What makes you laugh?
Dog videos. Brilliant people.
Mm.
Shout out Roger Bart. Actually, so many people that I've worked with recently and stood by for
Yeah,
have
no
been
kidding.
like unbelievably talented people who just, I don't know, it just naturally falls out of them.
Yeah.
So comedy.
Do you identify as a funny person yourself? I mean, I know you've heard that you're told you're funny, but do you actually own and realize that you do make people laugh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, I can't tell a joke. I can't, well, That's a limiting belief, probably, that
Yeah, for sure.
that I won't remember the joke. Wow, that's a good one. Okay,
You
year
won't remember the
5.
punchline.
We got so many things for year 5, Lisa. But yes, I feel like I'm a mini version of a lot of them. This we can go deep on this too, because I'm not as studious of as they are, but I believe they are. But it's
Yeah.
true. Like, I haven't put in the time to. Naturally, I think that I am that person. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair. What makes you angry?
Oh, what makes me angry?
Look at him embodying anger.
What makes me?
His face is
I
going
don't know.
red.
I do get angry. Like, I want people to see me as like this guy, but I do yell and get uncomfortable with my kids and say things when I shouldn't, and do as everyone does. But
So what pisses
that
you
makes
off?
me
What makes you
angry
angry? Yeah.
when people are not doing when people are the world, the meanness, the doing things for because people are different makes me very freaking angry.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I guess that's really what's on my mind now.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. And finally, what makes you grateful?
So many things.
Yeah.
My upbringing, just being here in this world, my children, my career, my puppies, my where I'm living, where I will be living in the future. Who knows?
It's like,
My
okay, we're
son
running
got
out of time, people. He's just going to go on and on and on.
Ohio State. The fact that I can have alcohol when I want it. I love coffee. I'm grateful for Lisa. I'm grateful for this audience.
I love it. Oh my God. What are the top 3 things that happened so far today?
What did I do? Woke up. I woke up. That's one.
There you
Without
go.
waking up, I couldn't do the rest. So we'll do wake up and coffee time, because that was a beautiful morning. I
Mm.
love coffee time in the morning. There's nothing better. Well, there would be something better. When I see your pictures, I'm jealous, because I would like to be sitting out by a lake and see a beautiful scenery every once in a while. So, but my morning was my morning coffee. Accomplishing, getting things done. Like, I dropped off a rental car, and making a little food for my son before he went to hang up his work. Don't tell him, because then he's going to make me do it every single day.
That's so funny. What's something you're looking forward to today? And then bigger picture, what's something that you're looking forward to in the future?
In the future, which is interesting.
Back to the future.
I'm looking forward to first, right, I'm going to do a workout today. I am going to eat some delicious food and then head into the city for my to go do the show. And I think I'm going to be my Strickland today, which is fantastic. But I am looking forward to in this 2 huge things. This next couple of weeks, Roger's out, so I get to play. Well, I don't know when this is coming out, but I'm going to get to play Doc, and I'm having specific dates that I know. So I'm going to have family and friends, and so many people come. And then I'm going to Portugal for a week.
Wow. Yeah, that's exciting.
And that's in the next couple of weeks. So super exciting. Yeah. I mean, grateful and stuff doing this job. Also, I had my kids come and my wife come on a night where there were 150 kids and people screaming, and I got to go on for Doc, and it was a huge audience, and the energy with the audience was amazing. And then to have my sons ask if they could bring their friends back and come back, especially 16 and 19-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily think their dad's so cool.
Yep.
But for him to do that, that is a huge gratitude moment for me.
Totally. Talk about your world coming together. And
Yeah.
didn't I read that isn't Casey Likes the son of someone that you work? That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So Casey here's another thought I had. I went to go see Casey sing his national anthem at the Mets game last night with my kids.
Yeah.
And realized that my wife had gotten me to sing the national anthem. She called and pretended she was my agent and said, my husband is a star of Les Mis. Can he sing the anthem? And they said yes. So I sang it, and I was wearing the same shirt, but realized that was 24 years ago, and that Casey Likes is 22.
Wow.
So I sang that actually probably when I knew his mom. She and I did Les Mis as well.
Yeah.
The show, but to think that I couldn't believe that it was, we talk about 4 years going by, but that 24 years had gone by. And I was like,
Amazing.
what in the hell?
That's
So
amazing. How cool is that? I
so
love that.
cool.
Yeah, like full circle.
Yeah.
David, oh my God, this has been great. I knew it would be, but
Yeah.
I'm totally delighted. It's been
Me
such a
too.
pleasure.
Yeah. You are awesome. I really appreciate, I'm so grateful for you.
Ditto.
And yeah,
Ditto.
thanks for having me.
I've been speaking today with David Josefsberg. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Remember to live in the moment. In music, stop time is that beautiful moment where the band is suspended in rhythmic unison, supporting the soloist to express their individuality. In the moment, I encourage you to take that time and create your own rhythm. Until next time, I'm Lisa Hopkins. Thanks for listening.